This is Pranav Guha Thakurta from EduTV. Today, we are with the legends of skill industry today out here. Mr. Nehru is there. Mr. Raj Nehru is there, who is the Vice Chancellor of the first Skill University of India. And we have with us Mr. Vijay Kumar Singh, who is heading ID's SC, which is again skill development shoot of Shobhit University, Meerut and Gango. Welcome, Mr. Singh. Mr. Nehru, what we have seen, all our scientists, in fact, people who have invented things, they were all of them were craftsmen. Either he was Einstein or Pythagoras, or you name any scientist. They used to work. They were craftsmen. How did this craftsmanship vanish from India in our higher education, sir?
Thank you. I think that's a brilliant question that you have asked, and many people in India do not have an idea how and why suddenly skills slipped away, disappeared from the education.
Right.
For this, you need to understand the two perspectives. One is the golden era of India and the Vedic period of India. If you look at the Vedic era and the golden era and the Gurukul system of education, you will be surprised to see that the entire education model was based on value education first, and
Right.
then it was based on the knowledge transfer, and then it was focused on skills. And without skills, none of the students would come out. And students would be prepared for various types of work. We used to call, if you remember, my grandmother used to say, 64 kalaएं होते थे.
Right.
And those 64 skills were taught in these gurukuls. And the legendary institutions were like Nalanda, Takshila, Somapura, Udantapuri, Vallabhi, Kantanur, Shala, one after another great institutions. And these institutions specialized in certain areas and promoted these 64 skills. So none of the students who passed out from these gurukuls or institutions or Vishwavidyalayas of that time or mutts or the temple universities or the forest universities, none of them would come out of the institution without any skill that will help him or her to earn his livelihood in life. Now, what happened in India? We had the invasion of foreigners. Those destroyed the education system. They brought in their own education mechanisms in India. But to some extent, we continued with our Gurukul system to a large extent, even during the invaders period. But the biggest damage happened when Britishers were influenced by the European Industrial Revolution, though that also was financed by India largely. But when this Industrial Revolution was happening, and in India, they needed people to comply with their work because they were increasing their rule and they wanted people to support them on the ground. They had no other choice but to bring in English, which are recorded in the Macaulay minutes.
Right.
They had to bring in the English, and their objective was that we have to teach them English so that they can follow our rules and instructions the way we want to get them executed on the ground. So the question of skill was not at all a priority. The priority only was to teach them English, teach them the British model of learning so that they can become good followers.
Right.
And that is where the damage started happening. The original model of Indian education system, which was purely based on first, that was intrinsic, that was understanding self and then understanding the outer world, and then connecting between the inner self and the outer world, and then also learning certain skills that will help to sustain for livelihood, that completely disappeared.
I think you summed up in a very nice way from the historical times to today. And Mr. Singh, what I was talking to Mr. Nehru, who is the Vice Chancellor of First Skill University of India, like all the scientists, like Faraday, Newton, Pythagoras, they were craftsmen. They made everything with their hands. Sir, how
Right.
did these things vanish from our education?
I think yes, it's over a period of time, things have started. If you look at the students today and the students in our generation, there had been a difference because the employability or in that kind of situation where uh, students were primarily been considered on the basis of the degree, not on the skills per se. But
Right,
now with the market uh, dynamics which changed over a period of time, skills has taken an edge over the degree, because I personally feel both are the two sides of the same coin. Degree today is important, no doubt. Degree today helps you to get a job, but if you want to move forward in your career, you require certain skills. So that's the way I look at it.
okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
See, if you look at, I also wanted to add one couple of things more. Just have you ever thought of that in India we had the greatest of the inventions?
Right,
If you go and look at thousands of years back and look at the kind of inventions India gave in the area of healthcare, in the area of metallurgy, in the area of surgery, in the area of trade and commerce, in the area of law, justice, in the area of philosophy, art, music, in the area of agriculture. How did India create so much of knowledge abundance? How did India create so much of so much of inventions in India that actually attracted the world? You see, we had one of the best surgeries of those times, which is documented in the Sushruta Samhita by Acharya Sushruta, and it is still I have seen it in Australia. There is a university, the idol of Acharya Sushruta is
okay,
installed in the campus, and they have written in the footnotes of that the father of surgery. Similarly, you have Maharishi Charak, who gave us the phenomenal Charak Samhita, which is about the physical well-being of human beings. You have Viman Shastra, you have Canal Shastra, you have agriculture sciences, which actually helped the Indians in the olden days to make their land more productive. If you have ever seen and compared the amount of agriculture produce that we had in India is far, far superior than anywhere in the world during those
right,
days, because the kind of understanding and the ability that these people had developed in India was far, far superior. Their ability in terms of to do. Now, you look at the astrology and astronomy. In India, thousands of years back, they had been able to completely and correctly gauge the constellations, the location of the stars, planets, and this was documented very well in our current astrological booklets, what we call
right,
these Navagraha books or Vikram Samvat, where they use the compilation of calendars, or Saptarishi Samvat, where they use another method of compiling the calendar. So, where were these skills coming from? These skills were coming from the kind of education system that
we
we
have,
had in India. But unfortunately, as we were just hearing from the professor on the other side, we became, after the Britishers left, continued with that legacy. And the entire focus was on knowledge intensive education, because our competitions did not test people for their ability, did not test people for their skill. It tested for their ability to store any information in the head and then vomit it on a paper. And the person who had the highest ability to retain any information in the head, that person would succeed. And
right,
eventually, what happened? Every child had a race to learn more and more, more and more, more and more, store it in the head. So we became a knowledge intensive culture. And eventually, the appreciation for the work, ability to do something, proficiency to do something slowly disappeared. and it resulted into very poor aspiration for earning any skill. You go to US, you will find, I have been in US for many years, and I have seen that if you have to do any tap work or any household work, you don't have to call someone from the outside.
True.
You have to be yourself prepared for it. But in India, if you have to do a tap work or a masonry work or a small work, you think it is a low job, you will have to go and call someone.
Yes.
So we thought that this is not a menial job, this is not, but in India, in the traditional system, this was part of our routine activities. This was part of our day-to-day knowledge gaining. So somewhere we lost that track and we got stuck into these competitive things, and that has actually, and then every institution became a part of that competition, and ultimately we destroyed that our age-old system of education.
You're correct, sir. So there is a formula for area of a triangle, square root of s into s minus a, s minus b, s minus c. It was derived in India by Shri Dharacharya. But when we studied, we read it as a hero's formula and we find out the area that way. So I think you're very correct. Now my question is, Mr. Singh. Mr.
Yes.
Singh, there are so many jobs available in the, as I represent a recruitment company.
Right.
My background is a recruitment. I think we are told there is no employment, but on the one hand, the industry is crying for people and people are looking for a job.
Yeah.
How we can do the matchmakings? You have got a good experience in this.
Matchmaking is only possible once the students who are coming to the universities gets properly trained, as well their skills gets refined, because employers today are not looking for the degrees alone. They are looking for the requisite skills also as well.
Yes, I agree.
And you know, that's the way I look at it. And we stress a lot on honing up the skills of the students, because we have two campuses, and the students in these two campuses, they come from the rural background and semi-urban background. Communication and the basic etiquettes are the major challenge as far as the students are concerned. So the moment they come into a university setup, they are subjected to the trainings on the communication skills to start with, and they are taking other soft skills sessions also as well, because what is more important is that by the time the students are out of the college or the university, they should be in a position to get a job of their own. That's how we look at the whole scenario today. We have this university training and development center. We don't have this university training and placement center per se, because we feel that students who have been developed, to an extent where they can get the job of their own, rather than we forcing the employers to take our students.
Wonderful. I think that's a very good approach, Mr. Singh. Dr. Nehru,
Yeah.
I would like to request you for the same question. As industries looking for people and people are looking for a job, there is no matchmaking or there is no orientation to the students, or in vocational studies. What I have seen in my time, students who couldn't do very well after class 10, they went to ITI. Then next lot went to Polytechnic, third went to best of the engineering, then fourth went to second rang, fourth rang, fifth rang. So I think, and again, the thing was there, maybe we don't have to work when we become a B or B Tech. So how this matchmaking can be done, where everyone is employed? Plus one more thing is there.
When you
People who couldn't do sixth or seventh, they went and joined some auto mechanic people or something like that. Yes, sir.
Look, one thing we need to understand, that the rate of change, the velocity of innovation, the speed at which the automation has happened in the world, it has significantly impacted the broader dimensions of the jobs. So this impact has resulted into the shrinking of various jobs that are available, number one. It has also impacted the skills required for various jobs that were earlier done in one way, but now they will be done in a different way. And third, it has also impacted by virtue of many jobs getting disappeared completely. So for example, if you had a plumber who has done his training from an ITI or has completed a program from an ITI, goes for an employment in a five-star hotel for a plumber, you will find 99% times he will not be able to get a job there, because the kind of infrastructure he has been exposed to during the training
Correct.
is not aligned with the kind of technology plumbing has gone through now in last 4 or 5 years. वो अभी भी रेच और पेचकश लेके अपना वर्कशॉप में जाता है, लेथ मशीन पे भी काम करता होगा, लेकिन he doesn't realize or recognize that the range and pechkash is completely gone away. Every tap today is sensor based tap.
Correct.
So there is an integrated technology today which is driving the change and shift in various job roles, right from the job that we see at the low end level versus a job that a mechanical engineer would have been doing when he was on a machine handling some job of manufacturing. Today the same job does not require a hardcore mechanical engineer, because there would be the intervention of computer,
Correct.
algorithms, software, electronic systems, and now engineering has become a mechatronics, which is mechanical, electronic, computer, all three together, which means the jobs will change and have changed. So appreciation of this, if it has not happened in the curriculum, it will render people jobless irrespective of whichever institutions they are coming.
Correct.
Second is that unless we inculcate the sense of rolling up the sleeves and working with hand among the youngsters who are studying either in ITI or in engineering, they will have a big difficulty, because with time, the productivity issues are bothering industries and institutions. The linear model of businesses between headcount and revenue are completely breaking away and replacing with a non-linear model of headcount and revenue, where revenue is not now proportionally growing with headcount. So lesser headcount, more revenue is required, which means lesser people, more work, which means a person has to be multi-skilled. So if an engineer today thinks that he will not roll up his sleeves, he is not going to be accepted in the industry at
I'm
all.
able to hear now. Yeah.
Correct. Now we have Dr. Gajendra Singh with us.
Hello, everybody.
Gajendra from ICR. Dr. Gajendra, what we were talking about, like the matchmakings, like the kind of people industry is looking for and that are not available after the students they graduate or get educated in various institutions. So what is your suggestions on that? How we can have more employability? As on the one hand, the industry is looking for people. On the other hand, the students or candidates are looking for a job, but there is no matchmaking.
Right. So I must say, basically, it's skill. We are lacking skills because employers are looking for skills, and basically students are not able to provide those skills which employers are looking for actually. So because today we are discussing about degree and skills only, the topic was whether degree or skills. So
Yeah.
that is the reason there are certain areas, there are certain fields where we are not able, institutions are not able to provide expertise. They are not able to provide knowledge in those areas. For example, I am coming from an institution from clinical research area. This area is a unique area. Most of the institutions are not providing these skills where as a today crisis, today we are facing a huge crisis of medical emergency. We are facing a challenge of medical staffs. And in fact, this area, clinical research area, is not this kind of degrees, this kind of skills are not provided by almost all institutions in India. There are very less number of institutions providing these skills. Now, recruiters, they are looking for professionals in this area. So I think this is the problem, because recruiters are looking for professionals and professionals are not having those skills. That's why this gap is coming. So to fulfill this gap, what I'm just suggesting that we need to bring online platform, because to provide this knowledge, we can't reach all everywhere in India, all locations in India. So what we need to do, we need to come up with universities where we can do collaboration. We can share our knowledge with universities, and universities can provide those skills to the students.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, Rasa.
Sir, let me ask, are you driving a car? Do you have a car?
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
So
we do have.
which car you have?
Oh, I'm driving XUV 300.
Okay, excellent. So if I ask you that why don't you buy a Fiat car or an ambassador car?
Because that's my passion. Because I want to choose that area. I'm getting your question where you're coming from, because I love that car. I have gone through all the accessories, facilities provided by XUV 300. So that's why I love that car. So that's the
Okay.
only choice of mine.
No, so thank you very much. Even if you wish to buy a Fiat car or an ambassador, you won't get it.
Yeah, we won't get it because it's outdated now. When we are talking about ambassador, we won't get it. Nobody would love to ride on ambassador car as on today.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we won't get that because ambassador and Fiat, they have stopped their production because there was no demand coming. Ambassador and Fiat never kept their pace with the demand of the industry. Industry demands were changing, customer appetite was changing, customer requirements were changing. And then we saw suddenly the Maruti 800 coming in and completely swamping the entire market, and Maruti completely destroyed the existence of Ambassador and Fiat. But today, if someone asks us to buy now the same Maruti, many people will not buy because the Maruti market has also been taken away with the emergence of new fancy cars, small cars, new facilities, new technologies. The same thing has happened in education sector and the job market. You see, the biggest gap today between the employer and the educator is that both of them are working in silos. Educator thinks he has developed a degree program, engineering program, MBA, or any other degree program, and the educator thinks the product of this program should now be getting a job. But
quite correct.
The employer on the other side has a very different requirement and a different need that needs to be fulfilled because his company and his industry is going through a significant change. But that change is not getting documented in the syllabus and the curriculum that education institution should have done. So this gap between the curriculum design and the change in the industry requirement is one of the primary reasons for students becoming unemployable. Second,
right,
the teachers today, you see teachers you hired some 10 years, 20 years, 30 years back, who have today become professors, associate professors in the institutions. They are teaching what they had learned at the time of their PhD degrees. How many teachers today have actually gone to the industry and understood what has changed there so that they can change their program design, they can change the program curriculum, they can change the teaching pedagogy? Not many. Very few people have actually kept pace with the change in design. 90% of them do not do it. Number three, the infrastructure that is required for practical training of the student has also to be upgraded with requirements of the industry. Right. Industry today is working on MS 10, MS Office version 10 or the IT lab in a university is still working on a 1998 version.
True. Correct.
So
Very true.
how do you expect these students when they go out and they can serve an industry better? Today, every job requires analytics. Every job.
All of them.
Now, how many of students bloody know that there is an analytics like animal in the world, which an industry person is today looking? The fourth important fundamental shift in the education is today the employer is not only looking for degree. The employer is looking whether a person has ability to solve a problem, whether the person has ability for critical thinking, whether the person has sense of empathy, whether the person can be a good collaborator and will fit into my value system of the organization, which syllabus, which curriculum is teaching this. These are the problems. The problem is educator, educatee, and employer. All three are working in three different silos. Unless these silos are broken and these people work in tandem, nothing is going to change. Students will continue to be unemployable in the market. In India, we have recently seen the study reports. 70% of the students graduating from the institutions are unemployable because of this reason.
Mr. BK Singh, as Mr. Raj Nehru said, educators, students, and industry, they are working in different islands. They are working in silos. So, how is your university trying to bridge this gap between students?
In two ways. One is that we have a regular industry academy interface, whereby we take the feedback from the industry on a regular basis and incorporate the changes in our curriculum as and when they are required, almost on a yearly basis. Number two, in a beta program, the engineering program which we have incorporated internship, one full semester internship, where the students in the last semester, they are necessarily have to go to the industry
Okay.
and learn the required skills on the job. And by the time they are through with the internship, they get employed. So in this way, the industry also benefits in a way that they save a lot of money in training of the new recruits. So that is helping us, and we have implemented in about 5 years back, and it has given us the wonderful results. This year, for instance, we have sent students to all the different industries as per the domain they have opted for. 100% internship has been taken, and students have gained tremendously. Now, because of this COVID lockdown, it has disruption has come, but then we are trying to find a way whereby they can work from home, and some virtual internship can also be planned accordingly. So this is how we are trying to address these two challenges, which has been mentioned by Dr. Nehru also just now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Dr. Gajendra Singh, how are you bridging this gap? What all activities you do for industry and institutions
Okay.
tie-ups?
Okay. Actually, because I do agree with Dr. BK Singh, just as he said, actually what we need to do, we need to, improve the skills of our students. What we are doing at our institution, we are just ensuring that at the time of recruitment, once we are recruiting people, we are also ensuring their placement. Because generally, once we are not able to provide placement, and to do the placement, you need to improve their communication skills, their professional approaches, their written skills, resume writing skills. Because if they are not able to do those, they don't have those abilities, they won't be able to succeed in, they won't be able to crack the interviews. So we have ensured that we will give 100% placement to our all students. Until unless we are giving their placement, we have different locations. We have different tie-ups with so many universities like Hingri University in Dehradun, Jain University in Bangalore, and so Jagannath University in Delhi. So basically, we are associated with so many universities. So they are all brands. But we as an institution, we are ensuring that where our student goes, our placement is giving, internship is being given to them during their period. So recently, like we do have aviation courses, so we are ensuring that they're getting internship as well as their jobs. So but challenge is coming because recruiters are looking for talent but they don't have skills. So what we are doing, we are revising our syllabus every 3 year. We are revising our syllabus based on the industry demand by adding all latest technologies, because this is the only way we can fulfill our objective, because what we are looking for, otherwise we keep recruiter comes to us, they are asking for certain new technologies, they are demanding certain new technologies. If we are not able to provide, they won't hire our students. So actually I really agree that if students are not having those skills which are required today, not even old days, every 6 months technologies are changing, softwares are changing. So what I learned 10 years, 15 years back, until unless I'm upgrading myself as a teacher, as a administrator, I won't be able to provide to our students. So what I believe, we need to also upgrade our faculties time to time.
Correct, correct, correct.
We need to ensure they are cracking their interviews, they are cracking their examination, international certifications in required field where they are teaching.
I think
This is what we are doing actually.
I think I agree with this. The faculty should
Yes,
visit
sir.
the industry, check out what the requirements are. Now we have Madam Anupama with us. She's the principal of Delhi Public School, Electronic City, Bangalore. I think their students join your universities and then they go to the corporates. So Anupama ma'am, what trend you have seen? Like how important is skill? You must have, you have taught in many other schools also where your alumni, what kind of skill sets they have acquired and they did pretty well in life.
Very good afternoon to all present. So, the question that EduTV had put out was very intriguing for me, that is degree more important or skills more important? So it is a myth that skills are required only for lower level jobs, because probably people are thinking of skills that makes them employable at that level, learning a skill that can get them a job. But many of us do not realize that even with the fanciest of degrees, if we are not developing skills in children, they are still unemployable, right? So and when we are talking of skills, we are talking of basic life skills, let's say, like communication skills, developing these an attitude to keep oneself fit. All these are skills that we have to start very early on, that is in schools. We have to put this into children, that having a fancy degree is just like having all the ingredients to create a great dish, but you don't know the method. You need a method also, at what stage you have to add what ingredient to make a great
Correct.
dish. So we have to keep children, what we do at school is we basically keep telling children that education is of importance to them only if they are able to use it in real life, that is to overcome challenges or hurdles in real life. So right from a very early age, right from nursery, what we do is all our field trips are planned to places where they learn something. So it is not to any resort or any amusement park. It is always to a place where they actually see things happening, what they've learned in the classroom. It can be to a park, it can be to a nursery, it can be to a production unit, it can be to an office where they go and meet the CEO and talk to them. So it is very important for us, at least at the school level, to keep children connected with the everyday life. What is happening outside the four walls of their school is what they need to know, together with what they learn inside their classrooms. Because eventually we have to make them understand that what they're learning is for life, not just to get a fancy degree and get employed in a company and earn money. It is for them to solve real life problems. So we have to keep them ready so that they contribute in achieving what they call the sustainable development goals. So skills are very, very important for us. It has to be developed in students. Only then can we even hope that they start thinking of achieving the sustainable development goals. So skills are important. I don't know whether it is as important or more important, but very, very essential for children to lead a fulfilling life.
Wonderful. Raj sir, you are there? Mr. Raj? Mr. Raj?
Yes, I'm there. Yeah, I'm there.
Raj sir,
Yeah.
ma'am was here from Delhi Public School, Electronic City, Bangalore. Sir,
Yes.
what are your expectations from schools?
I think she rightly said that today that the fanciness for the degrees without skills is not going to help students. But remember one thing: degrees come later, and it is the school that eventually transfers a student to the platform of a degree. So the colleges are the recipients of the products coming out of the school, and the way they have been shaped in the school will determine largely how they will perform and do well as they will move into the college life.
Right.
So I think the first part in the life of a child is the school, which actually will be shaping a child's inner talent and shipping it out towards different platforms of higher education. So I think schools have a very bigger responsibility, number one. Now the question is what schools are doing what they should be doing. Now, what they are today doing, again, as I said in the beginning, our entire education system has become a victim of the colonial education.
Correct.
And that colonial education has resulted into a rat race. And that rat race is largely driven by the ability of a child to memorize and then vomit on a piece of paper. And that piece of paper memory is getting him some score or her some score, and that is determining the intelligence or the quality of a student, which is absolutely not the way Indian education system was. Now, the thing is, unless we change this, I'll give an example, and this is a very brute example. Many people will not like it, but I have personally seen it. Let me give an example. In many schools, the children have to do some project work, and this project work, मेरे बच्चे भी थे, आपके बच्चे भी होंगे, जब fourth, fifth, third, second, fourth, seventh, eighth में जाते हैं school, they come home with small projects. These projects are make a flower pot, these projects are make a house, these projects are different things. Now, the purpose of these projects has been or is to be to inculcate the sense of understanding about that project activity and also do himself or herself. Now, what do? We are abusing that activity as well as parents and as a school. The children, they go home. The first thing is that the mother opens up the bag, looks at what the project work has been given, and the work gets delegated either to the mother or to some sibling in the house.
Yes.
That's number one. The second thing happens, if the parent is not able to do, sibling is not able to do, you have a very good network, a big mafia, I will call it, mafia of stationary houses around your house. They have ready-made projects.
Right.
And those ready-made projects are also quality, A grade, B grade, C grade, depending upon the pocket ability of a family to pay. Now, the parents are forced to go and buy it from the market if they cannot make it at home. They buy it from the market, they bring it to home, the child becomes happy, they label it with the name of their children, and the child happily takes it to the school. In many situations, the child's project, which is a grade or a B grade, depending upon how others have brought in, they get recognized in the school. They get clap in the classroom.
Correct.
Now remember, the child has not done anything, but the biggest damage has happened in the child's life, in his value system. The child has learned copying. The child has lost sense of originality. The child has lost sense of creativity. The child has lost sense of problem solving.
Correct.
Now, when you develop children like this, and when the schools, they also contribute along with parents like this, how do you expect them to become research scholars when they enter into higher education? So somewhere the practical element that the schools today have, some element, if that element at least is taken care seriously, judiciously, religiously, and there is a governance around it, I think at least we can do some justice. The second is the more inculcation of applied sciences right from the early stages of life, the more focus on inward learning, the more a child travels inward, the better he will perform outward, is what I think.
I think quite correct. I think we Indians, we love copying. We copied MBA from the West, from the US, and we also copied the summer trainings. Summer trainings were done in US because the summers are very pleasant out there. The students go out, they do all the projects, and plus out there industry is waiting for the students because they come with fresh ideas. And
Yeah.
India in summers is so hot. Majority of the students, I'm sure, Dr. Gajendra, Dr. Singh, and even Mr. Nehru will agree to it. The student does the summer, he or she does a summer training where his or her father is working at the BHEL, ONGC. They'll go there, they'll sleep too. Am I correct, Mr. Singh?
Yeah.
They'll sleep there for 2 months, and the father's friend, who's a guide for him, he'll do a sign, and that is again copied by his classmates also. That's how the summer trainings are done. So
You will be surprised. Many summer trainings are not even done this way. Many summer trainings happen. Parents will call the concerned manager and request him, can you issue my son a certificate?
Okay.
He has to, and I'm telling you, it happens. The giver also has got no sense that how much damage he is doing to the entire education ecosystem.
Exactly.
आप रिसीवर को तो छोड़िए, क्योंकि उनका वैल्यू सिस्टम तो ऐसे ही बना है, लेकिन जो गिवर भी है, जो सर्टिफिकेट देने वाला भी है, वो भी डैमेज करता है हमारे सिस्टम को,
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं आप।
तो एक विशियस साइकिल बन गया है हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम के अंदर। इसलिए स्कूल्स के ऊपर जो आपने सवाल पूछा, स्कूल्स हैव अ मेजर रोल टू प्ले, सबसे बड़ा रोल स्कूल्स का है। और आज अगर स्कूल्स उसको चेंज करते हैं, उसको ठीक करते हैं, तो इस समाज में परिवर्तन आएगा, नहीं तो नहीं आएगा।
I agree. Singh Saab, Mr. Vijay Singh.
Yes, sir.
What are your expectations from, because school and college, they give their product, they hand over their product to you. So what are your expectations from the students? I'll ask Anupama also, what are their expectations? Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Just to answer what Madam Anupama has just mentioned, I do agree that is, my question is how many such schools are there who are inculcating such habits or the skills in the student? Because my experience in both the campuses, and I have seen in last over 3.5 years, 3.5 decades in my corporate life. Most of the students which I find they lack the basic skills, and the problem lies with the schools where they, I've seen in our university also, most of the students, they lack the basic skills, and we have to put a lot of efforts in grooming them up, in honing up the skills, and still when the aspiration levels are not very high, and students are not interested in learning the new skills which are important for them, for their growth, for getting a job in a good company. So the challenge is that how do you motivate these students to get to to the group where they start learning these skills? We spend a lot of time and efforts in making sure that the students at least pick up some of the skills which will help them ultimately to get a job, if not more. Number two, the how do we address the question which has been posed by Dr. Nehru some time back, where he was saying that uh, how do you uh, they are the places where degrees are just given just like that without even evaluating the projects which they undergo through. The way we look at it is that the full semester which we dedicate to for the internship for the students, we have a very stringent norms. Students are supposed to send their attendance on a daily basis. Number one, they are supposed to submit a report. They are supposed to give a presentation at the end of the, because that's the evaluation process has to be followed, and the credits for that semester gets assigned as per whatever projects he has done, whatever reports the student has submitted based on that. And there is a expert committee which gets formed, and that committee evaluates the performance of the students once they go out for the internship. Thank you.
Wonderful. Dr. Gajendra Singh, your
Yes,
expectation
sir.
from the students who come to you.
Okay, sir. So actually, I was just trying to say that students are similar to a like a building. Like once we are developing a number of storage to the building, and if base is strong, building will be strong. If base is not strong, then if you are trying to build a number of storage, then it may collapse at any point of time. Similar way, if our students, because they are coming from schools, so the schools have more major responsibilities of upgrading them time to time. Again, because my focus is on skill upgrade. So I must say, whatever techniques we are applying to provide to just to make them skilled, we need to change them. I will give only one example which I have faced with my kid as well. I didn't like it. I had a discussion with the principal as well. That was, it's a known school brand name. The brand is very popular and people want to admit their kids in that school. But what I personally observe, assignment is being given to the students and they are being told that if you are not able to do it from your books, just search it from Google, because it is said Google is the mother of everything. And if you can't find anything from any book or references, just Google it. So what we are doing, we are trying to make student life easy, because it takes 1 minute to get assignment ready. Basically, it's a piracy. Students are not doing anything by themselves. What they are doing, they will just copy it, print it out, and submit it as an assignment. So in early days, what we were doing, we were just trying to learn, make it by our own hands, and then we were submitting. That means certain knowledge is in our mind, which is lacking today. So when we are expecting highly skilled professionals in post graduation, if their base is not strong, they don't have those basic skills which are required at school levels. When they are entering to postgraduate level or degree level, they are facing challenges. So they have to do hard work, they have to upgrade themselves, or basically they will not be able to succeed as they are expecting. So it is not a blame on schools, but it is just a suggestion, the techniques we are applying to share the knowledge. Maybe we need to keep track on those, because Google is something which can really harm students rather than giving them some knowledge. This is my personal opinion.
Wonderful, so wonderful. Raj sir,
Yeah.
schools are in a very protective environment. It's a very protected environment in class 12. And then colleges, majority of the college in India, it is like they are thrown into the woods. So do you suggest the colleges to have some kind of orientation program for them? Because in West, what happens? School students quite often visit colleges, and college people quite often come to school, and the the gap is pretty narrow out there. Like I know Anupama ma'am, her students of class 11th and 12th are doing project with Australian students on Aborigines. Fine. So do you suggest the colleges and universities to have some kind of these kind of programs, programs?
Yeah, that's a good thought, and that should happen, because transition from one set of and one system of education to another system of education sometimes requires hand-holding, and it takes a person or a student a little time to accommodate and adjust with the new system and new model of education. So that hand-holding, one should be a part of the school when they are sending children to colleges, when they are preparing them to go exit from the school system and going for a college system. Similarly, the receiving system, which is colleges, they also should have some kind of orientation induction mechanism. However, it is important now that children are exposed to collaborative working right from the early ages, and that collaborative working should lead them to work comfortably when they transition to higher levels of education. And that can only happen when you have curated such mechanisms, such interventions at the school level, and they necessarily may not require you to work with the foreign students, but it necessarily requires you to appreciate working with various students or various communities. Even, for example, visiting a slum is not a bad idea, where a student gets exposed to the realities of
Correct.
the hardships of the life. So it doesn't require you to go and interact with an international student. So international student is a little fanciness that many good institutions have brought in, but that has its own merit. But there are students who cannot afford to have that kind of opportunities. But that those opportunities can be created through low cost, no cost approaches by adopting them at the early stage. I think the third important thing is now technology is becoming a boon as well as uh, as well as not a boon. But as long as the good part of technology is concerned, the students can work with various communities on the technology, which are cross-border communities, student communities, and that collaboration can also be done there.
Wonderful. Now, Anupama ma'am, what are you expecting? So you can ask any of them. You can ask Dr. Gajendra Singh from ICRI. You can ask Mr. Raj Nehru. He is the Vice Chancellor of the first Skill University of India. You can ask Mr. Vijay Kumar Singh, who is heading the Skill Department of Shobhit University.
Yeah.
What are your expectations? Fine.
Yes, thank you, Pranav. I mean, firstly, I agree with what all the other panelists have told, that majorly schools are still focusing on rote learning and marks. Now, this will continue till schools, colleges and universities are not admitting children based on only marks.
Right.
Unfortunately, in India, the rat race is still on, and children have to get marks. So there are very few schools who would go ahead of preparing children to just score marks at the board exams, because for them, even now, they're every year you will see after the board exams, newspapers are only publishing who got 100% result, who got how many A1s, and children also are getting into universities of their choice based on their marks. So till the higher education institutions, they are making marks the only criteria for admission. Unfortunately, the schools would not be focusing majorly on skill development. That is my opinion. Now, secondly, I would also like to clarify to Mr. Nehru also that what he says is correct. That many of the projects or science projects that are given meant to be done by guardians or elder siblings, but there are a lot of schools these days, including ours, where we insist that I'm saying this on a public platform, very well aware that it can be checked with our parents also. Till date, we have never allowed our children to do any science project at home. They have to bring all the materials, their research, everything to school, and they do it in the presence of the teacher. So here we are not looking at how beautiful the project looks. We are just looking at how much did the child learn out of this project. So the teacher is always there to guide and help. So there are many schools. We are not the only school who's doing this these days. There are many schools which are doing it. And recently we also hosted the CBSE regional level science exhibition, and the CBSE had given specific instructions to the judges that one of the parameters for selecting students to the next level of the competition was that they should the judges would have to kind of feel that this project is done by by the child. So they kept that in mind, and there were beautiful projects which they did not score that high because they said that this is probably not done by the child. It's very evident, right? So there are a lot of institutions that are moving beyond preparing children for just board exams and marks, and instilling these skills. But in defense of all the schools, we can only do this more emphatically if universities in India start accepting children because of their skills also, and not only because of marks. So my only request is that all of you should get together, and also have, I'm not saying that all the seats should be open just for children with skill sets, but at least a part of the seats should be kept for students maybe who have not got good marks but possess a great set of skills. So this can only be done collaboratively. It's not a blame game where we are blaming the universities and the universities blame the school. We have to come together. We have to discuss how we can achieve this at all levels. Like one of them rightly pointed, we cannot work in silos. We cannot work in our own islands and say that we have done a bit. We need to come together and discuss so that we can actually achieve this, because we are only discussing what is wrong. Now it's high time we come up with what we need to do to set this right.
Can I add something?
Yes, sir.
Please, most welcome.
I wanted to personally compliment you, Dr. Anupama, for what you mentioned that you are doing and asking students to bring material to school. This is really, really appreciable and really praiseworthy. I wish all the schools are doing this, especially DPS. I know it's not the one common society, but all DPSs have developed their own competencies, and I'm extremely happy that you guys are doing this in
Thank you,
your
sir.
DPS school. And I would definitely, I have kept this in my mind now. Whenever I go to talk to some school, I will give this example to them as well, that they should do similar kind of things. I only wanted to add one thing, unless you are doing it, so it's not applying to you. One thing in the school education system that I have recognized or experienced is the fear of failure is very high and bothering our
Yes.
small kids. Uh, and that is actually eating up their creativity, their courage, their sense of doing something new. I would wish that somewhere when you have platforms of school where you communicate, this problem needs to be addressed. This is a vicious problem, because when I spoke to some teachers, they said, what can we do? We have a pressure from the school management also for the passing up, and they will have to segregate those students who are not able to cope up. Somewhere this fear is inculcated in the entire system. Teachers may be, children may be, management may be, parents may be, and it is somewhere killing the creativity of some such students, which you actually said. I liked your idea that there must be some seats available for those who should be assessed for skills. But then those students are very few in number, because their skill talent is also killed in the schools. So somewhere this must be brought into debate in schools, that how should we kill this fear of failure among children right from day one through improving the ecosystem.
Yes, I agree with you, sir. I completely agree with you.
I think in the last thing, Mr. Nehru said a wonderful thing. Let the students visit slum, do something out there. In American and UK, I think still the highest numbers of marks they keep for community services. So if we have similar things in our universities, in our higher education segment, I think we can do a lot of things. We'll just go for a short break and we'll come back with our very interesting thing, that is rapid fire questions. And there's a gift hamper out there. That's a coffee hamper. Fine. Welcome after the break. Now we'll have our rapid fire round. We'll have one winner. Fine. And he or she will get a coffee hamper. So I'll start with the ladies first. Anupama, if you had the world's attention for 30 seconds, what would you say?
I would only say that please remember, no child is useless. He or she is only used less.
Okay. Mr. Vijay Singh, if you could only speak one word today, what would you say and why?
Remain inspired.
Okay, great, good. Sir, if you get a chance to press a button, if you press that button, you'll make the whole world happier by 7%. But it will also put a ban on all hairstyling products. Will you do it?
I didn't get your question.
If you get a chance to press a button, that will make the whole happier by 7%. Okay? But that will also put a ban on all hairstyling products. Will you push that button?
I don't mind pressing any button as long as it makes people happy.
Good one, good one. Good. Anupama, if you have been given an elephant, you can't get rid of it. What would you do with it?
Well, I would be using him to water all the plants in my house.
Okay, good, good. Vijay sir, what is something you have tried that you will never ever try again?
I think that is a lot of thinking, because something is I've tried.
Okay. Raj, when things break, do you prefer to fix them or replace them?
Both. Sometimes fix them, sometimes replace them, depending upon. Fix them.
Okay. Anupama, what product would you seriously stockpile if you found out they were not going to sell it anymore?
Okay. I think I would buy a lot of cleaning products like liquid soap or something.
Good one, good one.
Yeah.
Vijay sir, very important for you. How often do you look at your phone every day?
Whenever there is a need.
Okay, good. Okay, Raj sir, this is the last question. Huh? Describe your life using one word.
Jeevan. I think self-awareness, knowing self.
Thank you.
Has been the most important thing.
I think that's very important. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Anupama, Principal, Delhi Public School, Electronic City, Bengaluru.
Thank you so much, Pranav.
Head Skill Development, Shobhit University. Thanks, Mr. Raj Nehru. He's the Vice Chancellor of the first Vishwakarma Skill University, Gurugram. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time. I'm sure whatever you have spoken, it will be very useful for all the stakeholders of education.